Hi, I'm Sarah from SarahTypes.com. Today I'm going to show you how to get started with brush lettering. First I'm going to show you where I started with lettering and how I've progressed. As you can see in my Instagram photos, these are a few of the first photos I posted when I just started. It took a little while, but I slowly got better, and as you can see now, I've kind of honed my skills and come into my own style, and everything's a lot more polished and a little less newbie. You're going to need a few tools. Tracing paper is a good tool to have. You can use it to place over top of the practice sheets so you can use them over and over again. Marker paper is also great so that your ink doesn't bleed. A brush pen. You'll also want to download my practice sheets, and the link to that is in the description below.
So which pen do you use? There's a few that I use. These ones are my favorite. My absolute go-to is the Pentel Artist Pen. This one is like a true brush. It has the bristles like a brush, except that the ink is in this barrel in the back, so you don't have to continually dip the brush to get the ink.
Here's an overview of some other brush pens I like to use. After my favorite, we have the watercolor brush, and then we have a Copic brush, the Tombow, the Faber-Castell Artist Pen, another Tombow, and the Sharpie brush pen.
So when you're first starting out, you may not know what to write, what to draw. Sometimes that's the trickiest part, and it's something that can block you from creating. So the best thing to do is look for inspiration. My favorite place to look at different styles of lettering and kind of see what I want to practice and what I want to try is myfonts.com. If you go to myfonts.com, you can view a whole bunch of different fonts. You can search them by the lettering style. You can put in brush or calligraphy. You can also make albums, so you can save fonts and take a look at them later and maybe put them into different styles. You don't want to copy exactly what someone else is doing, but when you're starting out, you do need a bit of a guide. Another source for inspiration, of course, is Pinterest. If you want somewhere to start, check me out. You can see that I have a board with a whole bunch of different lettering styles, and you can create your own, and you can just search in Pinterest, lettering, calligraphy, brush lettering, and you'll get lots of really great results. My other constant source for inspiration is Instagram. I only follow accounts I'm truly inspired by, so feel free to go to my Instagram and follow all the users I follow. So the next and most hardest part sometimes is figuring out what to write. When it comes to this, I usually turn to Pinterest again because I usually save posts that I see online in my Pinterest board, and then I can always refer to them later if I'm having a creative block. Or you can just read the lyrics to your favorite song and grab a line or two and get going with that. Okay, now that we have some inspiration of different brush styles, and we also have some inspiration of what we're actually going to write, now we can get into practicing and actually drawing out the letters. So here's the download sheet. You can see the letters here. I have arrows for the upstrokes and then arrows for the downstrokes. All the upstrokes are slightly smaller, and then the downstrokes are thicker.
The best way to start is grabbing the first sheet in the practice sheet booklet. It just has some squiggles. They're not really letters, they're just different formations of strokes, and it just kind of gets you in the hang of doing downstrokes and upstrokes. So you can see here I'm just working with my pen. The more pressure you put on it, the thicker the downstroke is going to be, and the softer you are when you drag it up, the thinner the stroke is going to be. I'm just going to put this at a different angle so you can actually see a little bit closer how the brush is laying on the paper. As you can tell, for the very thin stroke, I'm barely touching the paper, but for the thick stroke, I am putting quite a bit of pressure down so that the brush lays flat on the paper. Just keep working on this until you feel like you have a good handle on the different strokes, and then you can move on to the letters in the alphabet. Okay, so let's try the uppercase alphabet. I put some tracing paper over so I can reuse this page and keep practicing. So just follow the arrows and remember that upstrokes need to be light with the pressure, downstrokes need to be slightly more pressure on the brush. Quick strokes are always better for getting a steady line, but at first just take it slow. It's okay if it's a little wiggly. Mine gets like that too. The more often you're doing this, the more fluid it's going to become. You can see at this angle you get different effects depending on how much pressure you put on the downstroke. So now that you've gone through the alphabet, how about we write a real sentence or a quote? I have an example for you in one of the sheets, so feel free to grab your tracing paper and trace over top of it. And then I'll show you how you can put it over top of an image and post it on Instagram. Okay, so once you're done with that quote, scan it into your computer and bring it into Photoshop. Once you're in Photoshop, click the Levels button in the Adjustments palette, select the black color picker, and click on the black letter. Then select the white color picker and click on the white background. This is going to create a lot of contrast so that it's easier for Illustrator to trace the image. So now you'll want to save it as a JPEG and bring that into Illustrator. Once it's in Illustrator, you want to select the image and then click on Image Trace. There's some defaults in the settings in the drop-down. I have one that I made for all of my lettering, and that's the one I'm going to use. It just gets rid of the white background, but as you'll see, there's a little bit of the lines that aren't showing, so I'm just going to adjust the threshold so a little bit more of the image comes through in the tracing. Once you've played around with those settings and you have the image exactly how you like it, you're just going to click on Expand on the top toolbar. And then you're going to ungroup it. And then I'm going to delete the surrounding box. And then I'm going to grab the A as an example to show you how I vectorize it. I'm just going to copy it, open a new document, and paste it in there. So what I do is I just kind of clean up some of the jagged edges, and this is just natural from the shape of the pen. Also, the image trace isn't exactly to a science the exact image that you have scanned in. So there's just some little bits and bobs that could use a little finessing, as I'm showing you right here. And I'm doing that by using the direct selection tool and the anchor tool, just to move things around, deleting anchor points and adjusting the way that the handles are positioned so that I get a bit of a smoother edge. Again, that's a really quick breakdown, but hopefully it helps you a little bit. If you want more detail video tutorial on how to vectorize, let me know in the comments below. So to put it into Photoshop over top of an image, first I'm going to grab an image from Unsplash. They have royalty-free images that you can use. So I'm looking for one with a lot of space on the top for the quote. I'm choosing this one to download and opening it up in Photoshop, and then grabbing my Illustrator file and pasting it in the Photoshop file. I'm just placing it in the white space and then making this into a square so it will fit onto Instagram. And just as an extra touch, I'm just erasing the lettering over top of the man's ball cap so it looks like it's in behind him.
If you like this video, hit subscribe for more tutorials and give it a like if you learned something new. Thanks for watching.